Hello guys and welcome back to a new episode of my masterclass. In this episode I will show you how to make a huge drops with my sample pack. The sample pack is free downloader, the link is below. So let's check it out. The pack contains ambience, claps, construction kits with the stands of the drops, drum loops, organic effects, kicks, snares, Synth Loops, Synth Shots, and finally the vocals.
Feel the overdrive play on ecstasy. Feel
I can't get you off my mind.
I am the devil.
Your mind is free.
Of course, this is all the sample pack including the midis and this project. So let's figure out the demo project.
Now you're entered to the Zomwell Rave.
I am the devil.
Your mind is free.
Feel the overdrive play on ecstasy.
I can't get you off my mind.
Okay guys, this is the demo project. One by one the drops. The drop one is called The Devil. Basically use this vocal and the process is a Pro Q cutting the low frequencies in this parameter. The next step is Camel Crusher with this configuration in this preset. So next is Valhalla Delay. It's a mod digital era present. It's a half note delay in single. This is the mix, and of course cut the low in these frequencies to make a more clean mix. And this is basically the parameters. And adding a endless smile with this configuration. Basically the preset is no limit, and use this for the vocal. And the last step is a Pro Q cutting the low frequencies in these hertz to cleaning the low end of all the process. The second step is the lead. Use this lead. This is the MIDI. Is in the sample pack. This is the notes. I use these songs from the sample pack. It's a Synth Shot 5. It's cool. And without effects on like this. And modify a little bit the multi and the time for the time of the project. And creating an automation clip for a Stretch Pro to make these effects. Okay, for the mix, use Pro Q3, cutting the low frequencies in these parameters, a Camel Crusher in this preset and these parameters, so compress a little bit and distortion a little bit. Use this plugin, is so cool, called Expander, and to create a unison detone to make more interesting the lead. With this effect, without this effect, sound like this. And these effects on sound like this. It's a little bit more detuned and a little bit more cool, of course. And later use this Pro Q, modify the low end to cut in the low end of detune and distortion, and cutting a little bit the high end in these frequencies and boosting a little bit these frequencies. And the last step is a kickstart too in these parameters to make a side chain with the kick, and all together sound like this. Next is the effects. I use this effect. It's a cool effect, and without effects on like this. It's a Rave generator synth. It sounds so good. And for the processing, use Pro Q3, cutting the low frequencies in this parameter, and Valhalla delay in these parameters. Basically is digital mode, era past, to create a more analog sound. In single, of course, the mix is 50%, and cutting a little bit the low end of this track. This is the parameters. Basically sound like this. Created and reverse. Basically the technique is take this sample, clone this, and reverse. Okay, the next is a lead, sound like a Reese. Is a classical song of hard techno. It's a Hoover. Without effects, sound like this. It's so good. And the process is Pro Q3, cutting the low frequencies, of course, again. And there's a smile with this parameter in soft preset. And this parameter, of course. Sound like this. Okay, the next step is the drums. And for the kick, use two samples. One is this. It's a very big kick. Okay, without effects, sound like this. And with the effects, sound like this. And the other song use is this top kick. And it's so good. Basically use this for make more clicky kick, and all together sound like this. For the process of the kick, use isotope trash to make more distortion in the kick. In this preset, it's a saturate preset, blitz, and these configurations. And of course, a kickstart to make a little bit shorter kick with these parameters. And all together, of course, sound like this. And for the top kick, use isotope trash again. In these parameters is a distort clip control, of course, to make a more clicky kick. And Pro Q3, cutting the low end, all the low end, and boosting the high frequencies a little bit. And use from the drum loops this top loop. Oh, sorry. Basically, this is the drum loop 3 from the pack. And the process is, and pitch it down a little bit and make to the correct time of the project. The Pro Q, cut in the low end, and the kickstart side change to the kick. The drums sound like this. Next step is these effects. Use these effects to any transition of this project, basically to make more easy. And this is the effects from the pack. and sound like this. It's ready to use. I don't applicate any process. And the next is these effects. This is the noise effects, and this is the people effects, and so like this. It's cool. Add to your track more energy to the drop. Basically use this in the start of drop to make, of course, more energy. And the process is Pro Q3. The process is Pro Q3, cutting the low end, a vintage verb to make a more reverb effects. The mode is Ambience, the color now, preset is Small Ambience. Modify this a little bit in the low end, and the mix, of course, in the K. The next step is Endless Smile with this preset and this parameter a little bit. And the last is Pro Q3, cutting the low end and cutting the high end. Basically use this sample for any track. Of course, this project sounds like a demo. It's a demo, it's not a finished track, and only used to make ideas and to show you how to create any track from my sample pack. Okay, the second drop is Your Mind, and sound like this.
Your mind is free.
Okay, use for this drop this
Your mind
sampler
is free.
is the vocal
Your
6.
mind is free.
And for the first step, use Camel Crusher. In this parameter is a British clean with a little bit distortion, the filter on, and this configuration for the compressor and the master. And Endless Smile to reverb, and the preset is medium in this parameter. Next is Valhalla Delay. It's a ping pong delay in mode digital to era past, and cutting a little bit the low end, and this is the mix. Basically use the same process and the same VST and plugins from the sample pack. Next is this Valhalla Vintage Verb. This is the mix, the pre-delay, decay, is a mood concert hold, color, this, and cutting the low and a little bit, and the high. The next is this Synth Shot, this the 6, sound like this. With effects, sound like this. Basically, the process is a Pro Q3, cutting the low end a little bit, kickstart to make a side change to the kick, Endless Smile in these parameters. This is the preset soft in this parameter. The next is Pro Q3, cutting the low frequency of all the process. The next is this effect. Sorry, this is the next effect. It's a acid synth shot, and this is the sample. Basically use a Pro Q3, cut in the low end, and Valhalla delay. It's a ping pong delay in mode digital, era past, and cut in a little bit the low end, and this is the mix. A little bit of drive and a little bit of edge to sound more analog. And the next is this. It's a classical psytrance effects. Of course, this pack is influenced by the psytrance, techno, hard techno, trance. The process is basic, is only a Pro Q3, cutting the low end without effects on like this. With effects on like this. The next is this. The process is the same. Next is the kick and bass. For the kick, use this kick from the sample pack. This is the kick 5. Without effects on like this. It's a hard techno kick, and of course make in the correct time of the project. The process of this kick is a camel crusher. This is the parameter. Modify a little bit the distortion, the compressor, and apply only this percent. Pro Q3, cutting the low end and boosting down a little bit the high end with a shelf. The last step is kickstart in this parameter to make a more short kick. With effects on like this and without effects on like this. And for the next part, use this bass. This is the bass 3 of the pack, and basically this bass is a psy techno trance bass, but in the process adding a little bit of distortion to create a more hard techno psytrance bass. And basically use Camel Crusher to distortion this and these parameters in compressor in pad mode. And the next is a Pro Q, cutting a little bit the low end, and high frequencies is boosting with a shelf, and all combined sound like this. And for the top loop, I use this drum loop from the pack. And the process is Pro Q3, cutting the low end, and kickstart. I think this is the magic. And a kickstart with these parameters, and with the kick and bass sound like this. It's a cool drop, powerful drop. And of course, add these effects. The process is the same, and this exhaust. Next drop is Ecstasy, inspired of course in Charlotte de Witte. And the next inspired in Charlotte de Witte. The drop 1 I think is inspired in Reinier Zonneveld. The drop 2 basically is inspired in Charlotte de Witte, Indira Paganotto.
It's free.
And the drop 3 is inspired on Charlotte de Witte in sound like this.
Feel the overdrive, play on ecstasy.
The MIDI is this and sound like this. And all of the MIDIs of these drops is in the sample pack in the MIDIs. Use this sample is the Synth Shot 4. It's a classical 19 songs without effects on like this. It's good with effects on like this. The process is Pro Q3, cutting the low end, Camel Crusher to distortion is the preset British clean, and with a little bit of tube. Compressor is in this parameter. The next is a Fruity Blue Overdrive with a little bit of preamp. The color is basically in the high frequencies, and this is the post gain. Next is Valhalla delay, and this is the mode era. The mode is digital era past, and it's a ping-pong delay. This is the mix, this is the edge, a little bit of drive, low cut in these frequencies. Next is Endless Smile to create more ambience to the lead, and this is the preset soft, and this is the parameters. Next is Pro Q3, cutting the low end of the process, and the last step is Kickstart 2 to make a sidechain with a kick. And for the vocal I use this process. The vocals without effects on like this.
Feel the overdrive, play on ecstasy.
It's a vocal pitching down, and with effects on like this.
Feel the overdrive, play on ecstasy.
The first step is Pro Q3, cutting the low end and modifying a little bit these frequencies. It's a bell in these hertz to boosting down and boosting up a little bit in these frequencies. Next is Camel Crusher in this preset to create a more saturated vocal. Next is the soft with this preset. Okay, the next step is Valhalla delay. This is a single style. The mode is digital era past, cutting a little bit the low end. Mix is in this parameter. And next step is Pro Q3, cutting the low end and boosting the high frequencies. The next is Stereo Imagine to create a more wide vocal in these parameters. And next is Kickstart to sidechain this. The next is this effect song. Basically this synth shot, and this is an acid shot. Without effects sound like this. With effects sound like this. And the process is an endless smile to reverb, and Pro Q3 cutting the low end. Use the same technique to reverse the first part, and the next is the kick, and the kick sound like this. And the kick is basically the kick 2 of the pack, and without effects sound like this. With effects sound like this. It's a good kick, it's a hard techno kick with distortion, and the process is isotope trash 2 to saturate this kick, and this is saturate gentle push in these parameters. Next is Pro Q3 cutting the low end and boosting a little bit the high frequencies with a shelf, and modifying a little bit this part of the sub, and a kickstart in these parameters. And okay, this is all together. And the next is the drums. It's a drum loop 1. Of course, it's a techno hats. And the process is Pro Q3 cutting the low end and kickstart to sidechain with a kick and sound like this. Okay. Next is a clap, I think. It's the clap 1 of the pack, this loop. With effects sound like this. Basically the effects is endless smile in this parameter and this preset, and Pro Q3 cutting the low end, and with the top loop sound like this. The last step is Air Candy. Basically don't have a process. This the Air Candy FX 3 of the pack, and modify a little bit the stretch bro in the format. The drums sound like this. And the kick, all the drums sound like this. And this is the same effect. Drop 4 basically is inspired by Maddix and sound like this.
I can't get you off my mind.
The MIDI is this. It's good. And the sampler is this. It's a detuned hyper lead with effects like this. Basically the process is Pro Q3, cutting the low end, Camel Crusher to make more distortion lead in these parameters, Expander to make more detune lead, basically use in this parameter a little bit of color. Next is Valhalla delay in these parameters. Of course, it's smooth digital, era past, and cutting the low end, drive in these frequencies, and a little bit of edge to sound more analog, and ping pong style with this mix. The next is Endless Smile with these parameters. This is the preset, this is the parameter of this knob, and the last step is Kickstart 2 to sidechain with the kick. Next is these effects. It's basically a stop Anastasia. This is the Synth Shot. And the process is basically only Pro Q, cutting the low end and boosting the high frequencies. And of course reverse this. Next is this effect. This is the Synth Shot and sound like this. Without effects, sound like this. It's a classical sound of 19th. And Endless Smile in this preset and this parameter. And the last step is Pro Q3, cutting the low end. For the vocal, I use this vocal 4 from the pack.
I can't get you off my mind.
Without effects on like this.
I can't get you off my mind.
It's a vocal. The process is Camel Crusher in these parameters with this preset to distortion the vocal, Endless Smile in this preset and these parameters, Valhalla delay with a mode digital era past, cutting the low end, and ping pong delay in these parameters. Next is Valhalla delay. For the vocal, concert hall color is this, cutting the low cut and the high cut. This is the pre-delay and decay and the size. And of course the last step is Pro Q3, cutting the low end. The next step is the kick and sound like this. It's a hard techno kick. This is the sample. This is the kick 4. Pitch up a little bit, and the process is isotope trash. In these presets, this is a saturate, the little popper. This is the parameter and a little bit of drive, of course. And the next is a Pro Q, cutting the low end, boosting a little bit the sub, and shelf in high frequencies, and boosting a little bit these frequencies without effects sound like this. With effects sound like this. More aggressive, of course. And for the drums I use this top loop. This is the top loop 10 without effects sound like this. With effects sound like this. The process is Pro Q3, cutting the low end, kickstart to sidechain with a kick. All together sound like this. And this is the air candy effects. It's the same of the other drop. And okay, next is these effects used to any drop, and this exhaust. The last drop is drop file called Mantra. This is inspired by Indira Paganotto. It's a side techno drop and sound like this. Okay, step by step. This is the lead one, but this is a vocal lead. And this is the first lead. The first step, of course, is a Pro Q3 cutting the low end and kickstart 2 to sidechain with a kick in these parameters. The next is this sound. With effects on like this. With effects on like this. The process is basically a camel crusher to distortion and a per Q, cutting the low end and the high end frequencies in these parameters. So basically all the lead vocal sound like this. this. Basically it's the same lead pitching up and sound like this. It's a cool psytrance lead. Okay, the next is this acid loop. This is the synth shot, and the process is this. Basically the process is a per Q3 cutting the low end, this parameter, Valhalla delay, in digital mode, era past, cutting a little bit the low end, and the mix is this, is a ping pong delay in this parameter, little bit of drive and an edge, Valhalla delay of course, and the last is a per Q3 cutting the low end of Valhalla delay. Okay, and apply the technique of reverb. Okay, the next is this effect. It's a cool side techno effects. Basically the process is endless smile with this preset and this parameter, and pro Q3 cutting the low end. And the next is the kick. This is the kick too. Apply a isotope trash in gentle push. This is the parameters. Pro Q3 cutting the low end and high boost on the high frequencies. Kickstart to side change this and a little bit shorter kick. And the bass lane is the next. Basically this is side techno or trance bass, sound like this without effects, and with effects sound like this. Basically the process is pro Q3 cutting the low end and sound like this with the kick. Okay, this is another effect. This is the synth shot and sound like this. Without effects sound like this. With effects. But cut the low end in these frequencies to integrate the mix. For the tube loop, use this. It's a drum loop 6 from the pack, and the process is pro Q3 cutting the low end and kickstart to side change with a kick and bass all together, something like this. Hey guys, thanks for watching this tutorial. You can use this project for creating any drop to your IDs. And remember, follow me in my social media like a Zomwell, and see you the next time.